Hey there, it's Aaron. In this video, I want to have a look at Adobe Photoshop Generative Expand. It's now available in the release version of Photoshop, and I've done quite a few videos in the past, but they were always using the Adobe Photoshop beta version of Generative Expand and Generative Fill. So let's see what the release version can do and see whether or not it is just as incredible as the beta version was. I'm sure it will be. So let's just take some images here. I'm going to be using several that I'm going to pull from my Leonardo.ai image generations. And this is how it works. We're going to go into our crop tool and we just increase the size of the canvas to what we would like. And we can position our original image here. And here up in the fill bar, you want it to be set to Generative Expand. And go ahead and hit the checkbox. Very interesting. Let's have a closer inspection here. So it has done a pretty good job here of looking at the original pixels and determining what would match. It's finished off the back of the head. Ooh, this is quite creative, really. I'm not sure what is up with these berries in the front, but I do love the smoke that's wisping off of the skull. That's really cool. And the third one, that's also very, very interesting take where it has incorporated, it almost looks like, I'm not sure, kind of like a spine, I guess. So that's cool, but if we wanted to have a look at some others, we can just hit generate again and let it do another set for us. So we can see again that it's coming up with some nice results. That one is really, really cool. I would say that that is our winner. So there we go, a really cool image that was finished off using the Generative Expand function. So I have lots and lots of images to choose from here. Let's go ahead and download this one here. So an image like this could be a nice test of, will it be able to continue a sequence or series of figures that are similar to that one. So I'm going to try this. We'll just expand it over like so. That's a lot of canvas space I'm giving it arbitrarily, but that's fine. So what I'm hoping that it will do is finish off this side with more figures that look very similar or equal to the ones that are already there. So it's done a decent job here on the first variation. You can see that it didn't continue with it being, symmetrical and filled across the canvas, but here's the second one. And while there might be some detail that's lacking compared to the others, it's done a pretty decent job in terms of the subject and the composition. And that would be potentially a usable take. The detail on the face, it's just on the border of being unusable. Let's go ahead and try another generation. That one does look better in the sense that the faces are, well, it's done the same job in terms of the composition. It's filled it off in a very similar way, which is what I was looking for. And in terms of the faces and the head structure, not too bad. In each of these sets, the results are quite similar in terms of the faces, but would we call this a success? I would say so. Probably run a few more generations in order to get it, try to find a variation that was really nice and tightened up for us, but I would call that a success. So let's continue. Let's see what else we can find here. So here is a very heavily stylized image, and let's go ahead and download this person made of neon green slime and open them up in the Photoshop. And let's change this to a different ratio here. Let's go with something like a 16:9, and I'm going to ask it to do quite a bit. So we'll bring her down here like so. See what we're working with here, and we'll hit OK. Pretty neat stuff. It definitely continued down with the sliminess of the body and the exact same detail as the upper body there. Here the same thing. The anatomy is a little bit wonky, and this one would also be quite usable. Let's generate some more just for fun. Still looking great. Second one, I mean, I feel like in each time it's done a fantastic job of doing just what it should do. Continuing the same texture, the same feel, expanding on the original composition of things. So just noting, for example, the detail up here in the head compared with down here on the lower part of the body, very similar. And of course, the slimy ropes of neon greenness, um, all very consistent. So I think another excellent job. Let's continue the fun here. Why don't we try something else, maybe a little bit more pleasant to look at this time? So we can try something like a fairly complex landscape shot. Let's check this out. This was supposed to be, I believe, on the Congo River. So let's expand this one significantly. Let's go ahead and change it to a ratio of, oh, let's try something like this. But I'm going to extend it out like this. And let's see what it does. So it has to finish off an entire sky section. Maybe that'll be a little bit boring. Bring it up here. So let's see what it's going to do to interpret that entire large canvas area. Beautiful result here. Let's have a closer inspection. We'll zoom in a little bit on this one so we can compare a little bit. So this was our original image. This section here looks great. So if we look at the water and how it continued it down, the little ripples and reflections are perfect. I think that that is just beautiful, actually. Let's have a look at the next one here. Also very realistic. I love this bank here because it makes it look like you're looking straight across. Very realistic looking. And the same here. I love that little touch of a bank. It makes it seem like you're standing on the bank taking a picture. Any of these could have passed for real photography to the casual looker. So fantastic job. Let's continue the fun. Why don't we try something with another figure? We can try something like this. So we have a lot of detail happening and we have a body to complete. So we'll download this image. This one could also be a great example. Let's find out here. So we'll open her up and the same sort of ratio as before. I'm going to bring it straight down like this. Now I am not expecting it to necessarily finish off the full body here because there's not a lot of pixels to give a reference to. We know that it should be a full body completed there. But let's see what the AI does and also how it's going to hold on to that really stylized pattern that's happening in the background and in her wardrobe as well. Let's see what we get here. That is actually pretty cool. It kind of looks like she is sitting cross-legged. The background is interesting. Not a lot of detail as we get lower down, but you can see arms. It works. Here we go. Let's back out a little bit. That does finish off the image, and in terms of the rest of the body, it does look lifelike. The detail on the hands is a little bit missing here, and there's some, there's some AI failing going on in that section, but overall not bad. Let's see this variation. Bit of an artistic take on things. Not quite what I was envisioning, but let's try another set. That is pretty nice looking. Let's have a closer look here. So it finishes off arms, and it kind of is an artistic, it's such an interesting perspective there that's happening, I guess. Let's see this one. That could be a winner. I mean, it's very, so she's standing there just kind of solidly, stoically, whatever you would want to call it, but it works. This could also be a winner because of the fact that it has these hands that come down and finish it off. Her body looks very elongated though. I want to try one more set. That looks very nice. And the proportions are great. It looks like she's seated. The background is very nice looking. Let's check out this one. That also is usable. I think that that one could be a winner as well because it continues everything so nicely, including the details on the background and on the fabric, so to speak. I mean, in terms of the overall, like, let's look at more closely. As we zoom in here, we do start to lose more detail, but you can see that it almost has like an upholstered texture to it, where down here it's not as detailed at all. Let's look at this one. Wow, so here we've decided to add a couple of other faces, but with a balanced composition that's quite interesting. If those faces were more realistic looking, I think that that could have been an incredible result for AI. So let's check out maybe one more, maybe two more. This is so much fun. Let's see. Let's try something like this crowded shot here. So a lot happening, and I feel like this could be quite a challenge for the AI, but let's find out. So we'll open this up here, and let's go ahead and expand the canvas, but we'll make it square, and we'll bring it out like so, and I'm going to hit the checkbox. I think I changed it. No, it's still square. Perfect. Let's find out what happens here. I'm hoping that it does do a nice job of filling in the crowd because that would be pretty fun. Even if it does do something like textures it off on the side or something. So it finishes off the crowd, but not nice looking at all. This could be a real problem trying to get it to generate some nice looking faces for us. Here, I mean, it's a little bit better, but the faces are totally mangled. And the same thing here. I have a feeling that AI is not going to be able to pull this off. And instead of just frustrating us with something boring, I'm going to just continue because we are going to see what the limitations are with the AI as well. Let's find something a little bit neat to work with here. We could maybe do something abstract this time. In fact, why don't we use something like one of these really wild eyeball shots? So we can download this one and we can go ahead and open that up in the Photoshop. And yeah, let's take the square again, just bring it down like so, and then I'm going to put this right in the center where it belongs, and let's expand. Nicely done. It has finished it off in this nice setting, this bedding of whatever it is that it's sitting in. Really cool image, and I do think that um, it has given it more depth by expanding the canvas. So I'd say that that's a really nice success. We'll try one more, just for fun, just because we're here. Just scrolling randomly here. Quite a few that I want to delete at this point. I've done some curating and only got so far down the page here. So we'll try this as our last image and see if it is going to be able to finish off a sword for us that is extremely detailed. And why don't we try a ratio like an 8:10. Bring this here. I'm going to do like so. So let's see what we're working with. Let's go ahead and expand. Very nice looking. Let's check out the second variation. Nice, a little bit asymmetrical down here, which isn't fantastic to me. That one looks pretty cool. I think that it makes it look more like a knife or a dagger just because of the ratio that I selected. And let's generate another set. Very nice looking image, and it's interesting. It makes it look very much like a very solid looking, intricately detailed dagger. So this was the original detail. This is the AI rendered detail, and I think that it's done a seamless job of continuing the patterns. So I would call that a success. Let's look at this one. I would say this might be the winner out of them. I'm not sure exactly what this gold chain or rope is supposed to be, but there it is. That is also quite nice. So it's continued this goldness happening, but it's just coming towards us now, not quite as bold. And the background sort of looks medieval, so it could work. But maybe out of them, that one kind of looks the nicest. I like how it's vignetted and sort of makes it look like it's coming forward towards us. You know what? Just because we're here and we are having so much fun, why don't we do one more? You can just go down here, select another one. You can see that the quality of the AI images deteriorates or goes down the farther back I go in time as the AI rendering models became more and more solid and usable, we'll say. So I'm going to download another abstract looking figure here, which I guess is titled The Queen of the Dead. And so we'll open up this Gothic character here, and we'll go with that a nice tall 8x10 again, and this time we'll bring it so that we're not going to finish off her entire body. We want to remember what the abilities of the AI are going to be. So let's ask it to finish off this part of a body section, but not a full body head to toe. Well, I'm not sure about the anatomy on this queen. That looks not great either. And here we have something that's also not fantastic. I'm just going to generate another set. This one's looking a little bit better. Let's have a look at the second one. More usable. And the third one, also usable, I guess. None of them are very visually appealing, I wouldn't say. I'm going to try one more generation. This is looking perhaps a little bit better. This one as well. And this one. I would think that this one maybe represents Queen of the Dead the most, but what is going on here? I'm not exactly sure what's happening in that whole section. You know, I'm going to call this not a great success overall. I feel like maybe, I don't know, maybe I had high expectations. I'm not sure. But what I do know is that we're going to try something here where we do the generative expand, but using just her face as the source area, so to speak. So I'm trying something a little bit different, and I want to see what the result's going to be. So it's a completely different take because it was just based on that face and head area. Let's get the bar out of the way here. It's finishing off the images nicely. That one is very usable. Let's try another generation. Continuing with images that look similar to the first set, but they are usable images. And that one's very nice, for example. Any of them really are. They're so similar. But I think that we have done a great test here of generative expand. We've seen what its incredible abilities are. We've seen some of its limitations in terms of it continuing fine detail towards the edges of the images, we'll say. But overall, it's beyond mind-blowing. I mean, I've really zipped through quite a few different files in a relatively short period of time, all with amazing results. The future is here, folks. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, then like and subscribe because that's just going to encourage me to make more of them. And with that, I will see you the next time.